Hi, and welcome to the Deep Dive, where we try to sift through the noise and bring you the really essential insights. So, today we're taking a look at a really fascinating individual profile. We're talking about Dr. S.M. Khan, who's a distinguished professor of psychology over at Aligarh Muslim University. And really, our mission here, our focus for this deep dive, is to understand not just what he achieved, his accomplishments, but really how his very unique background, all that deeply varied experience, how it all came together, how it shaped a career that had, well, a truly significant and lasting impact. As you start to look into his professional path, what jumps out pretty quickly is this rare mix. You've got this really solid academic grounding, practical tech skills, and then this amazing ability to apply it all. In the real world, often high-stakes situations, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In a time when everyone's pushed to specialize, how can such different fields just coexist in one person's journey? And not just coexist, but actively, merge to unlock something genuinely unique in terms of capabilities and contributions.
That's such a critical point. And I think the real value in digging into a multifaceted career like Dr. Khan's is right there in that convergence. It's not just a list of things he did. It's a really compelling example of interdisciplinary thinking in action.
Right.
His story really shows how knowledge becomes most powerful, not when it stays siloed in an academic department, but when it gets applied, when it's integrated across different and sometimes, quite unexpected contexts.
Mm-hmm.
His whole journey is kind of a living proof of how having that broad, connected base of understanding can lead to really effective, innovative solutions. Solutions that maybe specialists focusing only on one thing might just completely overlook.
Okay, so let's start by unpacking that intellectual foundation. Because it is pretty remarkable. Dr. Khan didn't just, pick one field. He built this really strong base on two quite distinct pillars right from the start. He got master's degrees in both statistics and psychology, and then followed that up with a Ph.D. in psychology. That's, well, it's an unusual pairing, but potentially very powerful.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I think that dual mastery is exactly where a lot of his unique strength comes from. Just think about it for a second. The advantage of tackling any complex issue when you've got a strong handle on quantitative analysis, which statistics gives you rigorously, and you pair that with a deep, sort of nuanced understanding of human behavior, which is, the core of psychology.
Yeah, most people lean one way or the other heavily.
Exactly. Most researchers, most professionals, they specialize. But Dr. Khan started with both. And it's not just about having, two viewpoints. It's having a truly comprehensive framework. It lets you understand complex issues in a much richer, more holistic way.
So he could see the what and the why.
Precisely. He could design robust studies, analyze the data with statistical precision to see what was happening, but then also really dig into why it was happening from that behavioral, that cognitive angle.
Yeah.
This probably empowered him to create interventions, interpret results with a kind of depth few single-discipline experts could match, seeing connections, implications that others might just miss.
And then he added another layer to this academic profile, one that feels, well, quite ahead of its time, really. He got a diploma in computer programming and several certificate courses in advanced computer languages. We're talking about a time well before data scientist was even a common term, right?
Exactly right. And this early pretty serious engagement with computer tech, especially advanced programming. That's a really key detail for understanding his path. It strongly suggests a, remarkably forward-thinking approach. He seems to have grasped early on how technology could integrate with and really boost the fields of psychology and statistics.
Mm-hmm. The potential there.
Think about the practical side. For someone working in R&D or later in academia, that tech skill would be invaluable. Managing large data sets efficiently, running complex statistical models that would be, frankly, impossible by hand.
Or automating parts of research.
Absolutely. Automating testing, maybe. This foresight in embracing tech really laid the groundwork for his later work, especially in areas like data analytics and the really complex process of developing psychological tests. It shows a clear vision for how tech could empower psychology.
Okay, so moving on from that deep theoretical base, let's talk about a really crucial period. This is where we see his ability to apply all that knowledge in, well, pretty critical situations. Before he ever became a university professor, Dr. Khan was actually an officer in the R&D wing research and development of Indian Railways. And this wasn't some academic exercise. This was real-world application. Huge responsibility. His specific jobs there, they included selecting safety category staff, really critical roles. And he did this using carefully designed aptitude tests. Just pause and think about that for a moment. Making sure the people operating trains, maintaining crucial systems responsible for so many lives, making sure they had the right aptitudes for those jobs. And beyond just selection, he was also doing critical research into human error in train operations.
Yeah.
So what were the real implications of using psychology in that kind of high-stakes place?
Well, that time in Indian Railways is just such a powerful case study. It shows the real purpose, the real impact of applied psychology. I mean, think about railway operations. They're vast, they're complex, and inherently high stakes. Understanding human behavior, cognitive processing, decision-making under pressure, individual capabilities, that's not just academic interest there.
No, it's vital.
It's absolutely paramount for public safety, for operational reliability. So his work developing and using those aptitude tests for safety staff, that directly shaped the competence and reliability of people responsible for thousands of lives every single day.
It's more than just hiring.
Oh, much more. It was about systematically finding people whose psychological profiles, whose abilities were best suited to minimize risk right from the get-go. And then his research into human error, that's also hugely significant. It wasn't just, making a list of mistakes. It meant diving deep to understand the underlying psychological factors. Things like attention lapses, cognitive biases, stress responses, maybe perceptual errors.
And maybe environmental factors, too, system issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All of that. And that kind of detailed research gives you actionable insights. Insights that directly informed how they design better training, how they refine operating procedures, maybe even how they engineer the systems themselves to be more resilient to human error, more forgiving.
Wow. So tangible impact.
Absolutely tangible. His work there would have directly translated into better safety, better efficiency across one of the world's biggest railway networks. It just perfectly shows the life-saving impact of his applied psych and stats expertise. Safeguarding lives, improving critical infrastructure nationally.
Yeah, that time at the railways really does underscore his exceptional ability to translate deep academic knowledge into practical, critical solutions. It's one thing to study this stuff, right? But applying it where mistakes have such severe consequences, where lives are on the line, that's different. So after that really impactful period with the railways, Dr. Khan then dedicated most of his career to academia, spent over 2 decades teaching at university, and more than 30 years doing research at Aligarh Muslim University. And this is where we see his prolific output really take shape, directly influencing the field, and the contributions are really substantial. He authored 62 research papers, wrote 3 books, and importantly, he developed 30 psychological tests. That's not just adding to the conversation, that's actively building the tools the whole field uses.
Yes. And connecting that to the bigger picture of psychology, developing 30 psychological tests.
Yeah.
That is an extraordinary contribution, foundational stuff, like you said. It's not just publishing findings. It's creating these standardized, validated instruments, tools that become essential resources for countless other researchers, clinicians, even industries right across India.
It must be a huge amount of work just to create one test properly.
Oh, incredibly rigorous. It's a multi-stage process. You need deep theoretical understanding of what you're measuring. Meticulous statistical skills for the psychometric validation, checking reliability, validity, establishing norms, and just a painstaking approach to standardizing it so it's used and interpreted consistently.
Right.
These tests become the bedrock tools, assessing intelligence, personality, aptitude, clinical issues, you name it. They shape future studies, how people are evaluated, how interventions are designed and measured. So that level of contribution, it marks him not just as a prolific scholar, but as a fundamental architect for the field, providing tools that keep generating knowledge for decades.
And his influence wasn't just through his own writing and tool building. He clearly dedicated a huge amount of time and energy to nurturing the next generation of psychologists, too. He supervised 13 Ph.D. scholars personally and guided, get this, 85 master's dissertations. That's just an incredible amount of mentorship.
It really is. And the enduring impact of that level of mentorship, you really can't overstate it. Guiding 13 PhDs and 85 master's students. That means he wasn't just teaching them stuff. He was actively shaping, challenging, nurturing their intellectual growth, the next wave of experts.
Yeah.
And every one of those students graduating under his guidance, they carry forward those rigorous methods, ethical practices, that innovative thinking into their own careers. They do their own research, contribute, mentor others in turn.
The ripple effect.
Exactly. A profound exponential investment in the future of psychology, especially within India. His dedication helps ensure a high standard is propagated. It creates this ripple effect that will last for generations, really shaping the academic and applied landscape.
And it seems very clear his expertise was widely recognized, sought after across India. He was invited to speak at more than 240 national workshops. That's a remarkable number. It really signals a consistent high demand for what he had to say.
Indeed it does. Over 240 invitations to national workshops. That absolutely signals his expertise wasn't just acknowledged, it was actively sought out by peers, institutions, practitioners all over the country. It positions him as a leading authority, a key voice in those critical areas he mastered. Applied psychology, solid research methods, advanced data analytics, test development. Being asked to speak that many times means he was the go-to expert for training, for sharing best practices, for shaping the professional conversation nationally. That widespread demand is just a powerful sign of his influence and the huge regard for his knowledge stemming from that unique mix of background and practical experience.
So, okay, let's try and bring all these threads together. What does Dr. Khan's whole career path really show us? His journey just beautifully illustrates this powerful synergy, doesn't it? You see deep academic knowledge, very practical application, and this consistent, prolific contribution all woven together from mastering statistics and psychology through that critical safety work at the railways and then on to his massive academic research output and that incredible mentorship.
Yeah.
It all just merges into this unique tapestry of really significant, lasting influence. Dr. S.M. Khan's professional life really feels like a testament, I think, to how diverse skills and experiences, when they're not just collected but really thoughtfully integrated, strategically applied, they can absolutely lead to a career of profound, enduring impact. He didn't just follow a standard path. He showed how to forge a truly unique and impactful one.
And that brings us, I think, to a final, maybe provocative thought for you, the listener. Just reflect for a moment on how often we, maybe in our own careers or studies, tend to compartmentalize things. We put our skills in boxes, our education in another box, our career goals somewhere else.
We're often told to pick a lane, right?
Exactly. Pick a lane, stay in it. But Dr. Khan's journey really challenges that conventional wisdom, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of urges us to think about how intentionally bringing together seemingly different areas of expertise, whether it's, analytical rigor, like stats with the nuance of human behavior, or abstract theory with concrete real-world tech skills, how doing that can actually unlock completely unique opportunities for innovation, for more holistic problem solving, and ultimately for making a truly remarkable, distinctive impact in whatever we pursue.
That's a really insightful point to end on. A lot to think about there. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into a truly inspiring career. We hope it encourages you too to reflect on the power of interdisciplinary learning and application in your own journey. Until next time.